What happens to your identity when the world um, just stops? Like when you suddenly can't do the one thing you use to define yourself.
Yeah, it's a huge shock to the system.
Right. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at a translated text exploring the personal evolution of global superstar Harry. We want to unpack how a forced pandemic pause basically shattered his musician persona.
And paradoxically, led him to discover that true emotional safety only really comes when you, well, stop performing entirely.
So, let's go back to when the pandemic hit. The live music industry effectively ceased to exist, right?
Completely. It just vanished overnight.
Yeah.
And for Harry, that primary label, musician, performer, star, it was just gone. He couldn't tour at all.
Which forced him back into his foundational roles.
Exactly. Being a friend, a brother, a son.
It sounds like taking off a heavy superhero cape that you forgot you were even wearing. Like you suddenly realize you're just a person underneath.
That's a great analogy. Psychologists actually refer to this as identity enmeshment.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you're constantly performing, your sense of self gets entirely entangled with the applause and the output.
So stepping out of that hyper-demanding professional role forces your brain to figure out who you actually are without that constant external validation.
Precisely. And stepping out of the spotlight is what ultimately allowed him to see the stage from a totally different perspective.
Right. I wanted to get into this part. He talked about going to a Radiohead concert, just standing in the crowd as a regular audience member.
Yeah, and that triggered a massive emotional shift for him.
Because he finally removed the cognitive load of performance.
Exactly. I mean, when you're the one delivering the experience, your brain is tracking 100 variables.
Oh, sure. The lighting, the set list.
The crowd's energy, all of it. Simply being a fan in the crowd eliminates that ego depletion. He wasn't working. He was just, absorbing the music.
It's like a Michelin star chef finally sitting down at a diner to just enjoy a meal.
Yes, exactly.
Remembering why they love food in the first place. It's like hitting a factory reset on your passions.
And remembering that underlying love for the art makes it safe to approach it authentically again, which led him to a pretty massive emotional realization.
Right, the vulnerability paradox. He unpacked this idea that the more vulnerable he is with others, the safer he ends up feeling.
Yeah, even though it is deeply frightening in the moment.
Wait, let's unpack this a bit. Because usually, vulnerability feels like taking off your armor in the middle of a battle. How does exposing your flaws translate to safety?
I know, it seems completely counterintuitive. But think about the sheer psychological bandwidth required to maintain that flawless superstar persona.
Oh, wow. Yeah, projecting perfection means you're perpetually terrified of being found out.
Right, you're burning massive amounts of mental energy just guarding the perimeter. True security doesn't come from a flawless persona.
So the anxiety isn't actually coming from the threat of being attacked, it's coming from the exhausting maintenance of the disguise itself.
You hit the nail on the head. When you are truly vulnerable, there's nothing left to hide. You've already shown the messy, unpolished parts you were so afraid of exposing.
And when people accept you in that unfiltered state,
The terror of maintaining an image just evaporates. On the other side of that initial fear of exposure is genuine security.
that is profound. So Harry's journey shows that shedding our primary labels and actively embracing the fear of vulnerability is often the secret to both personal security and creative revival.
Definitely. We build these rigid identities, assuming they protect us, but they usually just isolate us from the authentic connections that actually make us feel safe.
Which leaves us with something pretty significant to mull over on your own. If stepping completely away from our primary role is exactly what makes us feel most secure, what part of your own daily armor might you need to drop to finally feel safe?